This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We're about to begin with this last meeting of the year. Yeah. We're gonna open it up with a prayer. Do we have any volunteers on the prayer? Okay.
Pray with me if you would. Heavenly Father, we come thanking you this morning for allowing us to be here. Lord, we just pray that you would be with us as we make decisions during this meeting and the work you prepared for us. We just ask you continue to be with our county, that you'd be with our state, you'd be with our nation, Lord. And we just ask that you bless us as only you can. And Lord, if we fail in so many ways, we just ask forgiveness. Forgive us where we fail. In Christ's name, amen.
Let's all stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice and justice for all.
You may be seated. We have a proposed agenda before you. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, just to point out, I added quite a few items since it got sent out. Actually, item 16 on down, I've added, but most of them are just for informational purposes. I'll go to number 16. I do need a brief executive session at the end, talking about potential litigation. 17 is about the rec board. 18 and 19 about 2 railroad crossings. Number 20 is just the building permits issued in November. 21 is a renewal of an alcoholic beverage license. And 22 is about some legislation that got passed in the 2024 General Assembly. So if you would, I'd like to add those items to the agenda.
All right. David?
The only thing I had was the rock on the dirt roads. I'd like to have a brief discussion on the list and the rough spots in the county.
Okay. Tim?
Yeah, once we go in executive session, I'd like to ask some questions because I've been getting some calls about we own the property and kind of own property. I'm talking about, like, for example, pecan trees and stuff like that. And I just want to know so I can give them some answers.
Okay.
Potential litigation.
Okay, right in there. Since we already going in there. All right, Eugene?
Good.
Tone?
I don't have anything, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
I make a motion we approve the agenda, Mr. Chairman, with the additions.
That's it.
Okay, there has been motion and second. All in favor by the show of hands. That motion carried. All our old minutes were either emailed or mailed to all of us. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move we adopt minutes as recorded.
That's it.
It has been motion and second. Do we have any discussion or correction on the old minute? If not, all in favor by the show of hands. And that motion carried. All right, Mr. Steve is on you now.
All right. Well, then you want to go ahead and recognize Kenny? Okay. Kenny, if you would come up. I think as everybody's aware, Kenny has announced his plans to retire, and I'm assuming you haven't changed your mind.
Not yet.
He retired as of the end of this month, and 43 years with the county. And actually, how many years with the hospital before that? 3 years would do the medical center before, actually with the, yeah. And I think Melinda's got a little recognition she wants to give him.
All right. Kenny, on behalf of the commissioners, we would like to thank you for your contribution for 33 years.
43.
43, I'm sorry.
Don't short him.
And we say congratulations on renewing 43 years of dedicated service as emergency management director for Dewey County. On behalf of the commissioners and the Dewey County citizens, we thank you for your unwavering commitment, exceptional leadership, and tireless dedication. Your service has been invaluable, ensuring the safety and well-being of the community through countless challenges. We appreciate you for your extraordinary contribution, service, and for being a steadfast protector of Dillon County. With deep gratitude, we say thank you. It's a little token of appreciation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, this wasn't necessary. All I've done was try to do my job, and right, wrong, and indifferent, the people of Dooley County was always in the forefront of whatever I did. So I've seen a lot of changes in 43 years. Excuse me. Oh, that's not mine. But I've seen this commission go from a 3-man board to a 5-man board. I saw the first black commissioner elected. He was my high school shop instructor, Mr. Keaton. A lot of changes in the fire service, and the one thing that never changed though was there was always a struggle. Always more to do, always another challenge, always seemed like. And I said this to somebody the other day, over 40 years, it was always a work in progress. And as I'm getting to the close, before, if you didn't get it done today, that'd be tomorrow or next week or whatever, but I'm running out of tomorrows. So anyways, but I appreciate all the support that I've had out of the board over the years. Seen a lot of commissioners come and go. But all in all, for me, it's been good, and I thank y'all.
Thank you.
Just want to take a picture with the commissioners.
Is he the longest serving employee?
Currently,
Well, Dooley County's always been my home. I ain't never had no desire really to work anywhere else.
There you go.
It's
That's what I
always,
like.
it's
Yeah,
always been a short commute.
yeah.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Let's get a picture.
Oh, picture?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. 1 minute. The phone got a reboot. Stand by.
While you're waiting on that, I'll tell a short story on Kenny when he was working with the Dillon Medical Center and EMS as a young man. Very young man. Very young man, right out of school. And he worked with EMS and he got caught in his first situation with a childbirth situation. And the lady she was already uncomfortable, and when she saw how young he was, she was even more. She asked him as he's looking at her, she looking at him, says, "Have you ever done this before?" He said, "No, ma'am." He said, "But I tell you, if this baby's bigger than a kitten and smaller than a calf, we're gonna be all right."
Well, that's gonna be good. All right, ready? 3, 2.
Yeah, turn this way.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right.
Thank you.
there's quite a lot of stories that can be told on Kenny, but I think
At another time.
another time, another place.
Well, he did get credit. I will say this, anytime someone was needed from a county standpoint to be on that committee to do this, Kenny always got it. Firsthand, he helped name all these roads out there.
Well, after my retirement is final, I still want to continue to serve. If there's opportunity on a board or something like that, I wouldn't reject any ideas along that. I don't think I'd be much help on the library board, but anyway. Thank you.
Thank you, Kenny.
Okay, yeah, there should have been a sign on the door about, the phone silencing, so we just ask everybody to honor that at this time. You know, I turned mine down too, I made sure I turned it down before I walked in the door. Okay,
All right, item number 2, you got the financial report for the month of November. Take that, look at it, look it over. If you have any questions, we'll be glad to try to answer anything. Moving on, item number 3. The Georgia Department of Transportation is accepting application for funding from the FY25 LMIG program. Applications must be received by February the 1st. Dewey County is eligible for $733,000 from DOT. Requires a 10% match. So you take the $733,000 we're eligible for from DOT with the 10% match of $73,000. That means we need to come up with a list of $807,000 worth of projects. Rodney, why don't you and Lance come on up here? They've got some proposed projects. You've got a list of them there in your, and I put them in that format, same information you had, Lance, but let me pull that up right quick. Now, I didn't know for sure, Lance, on your list, were they sort of in priority left to right on your list? No priority whatsoever.
No, no, sir.
Okay.
Because we just came up with the list like 2 weeks ago. I mean, I could probably just know it from my.
Okay, well, I didn't know if they have that. All right, so just ignore the numbers out to the left here. I put them in alphabetical order. It was just easy for me to track them out. So they've identified 10 potential roads. Of course, we ain't got enough money to do 10 roads. But Bowen Road, Cason Road, Lambtown Road, Liberty Church Road, Lonesome Pine Road, Old Pinehurst Road, Farm Road, Pleasant Valley Road, Tippville Road, and Weeks Road. And then you got a map, a page for each map showing the locations, and they're just listed alphabetically. So I don't know. Now, I'm assuming this is a little bit of patching and then resurfacing.
Correct. It's with no surface treatment. It's a little bit of patching, a little bit of leveling, a little bit of patching, a little bit of level spot leveling, and then resurfacing.
Asphalt resurfacing.
Asphalt, yes, with 1.5 inches. Every one of them have 1.5 inches of asphalt, at least 1.5 inches of asphalt. Some places will be more. None will be less. With Weeks Road is the only one. I mean, it's expensive for the length, just because it's got some deep base patch. I mean, well, it does have some deep base patching, but it also has some full depth reclamation. There's some pretty bad spots through there. It's a bottom, and I think it's 3,800 feet of full depth reclamation, which is milling up the entire road and rebuilding it back pretty much. So, and I've got a spreadsheet. I mean, I've got a lot of information on my spreadsheet, but I mean, it would be too much to put up on the screen. But I've got it broken down on the cost per mile, and they are all running about $200,000 a mile, with the exception of Weeks Road. It's going to be more, and Pleasant Valley is 24 feet wide as opposed to 20 foot wide, so that makes it more expensive per mile just because of the width. A lot of these roads we did this past year. We did some repairs on it. So Bowen, Lambtown, Liberty Church, Old Pinehurst, Parham, all of those we did some patching and a little bit of leveling on some of those roads anyway, with the anticipation of, resurfacing them at some point sooner, but it made those roads a little bit easier to travel in the meantime. So
Now, this is just y'all list right here, right? This is what y'all said.
we came up with, yes, sir, we came up with a list, and we said, well, actually, we went down all of the, we knew we could go about 3 to 4 miles, and we looked at the every road in the county on a piece of paper, and we talked about every one, which ones we need to look at, and then once we had that list, I mean, how many? 10.
10.
I went to the I started estimating.
But Steve, I'm just curious. I know you got that camera where it looked like you're actually on the road, just to see, the condition of the road. And you say it's $200,000 a mile.
About
$200,000.
Depending, some of them are more. I think there was a couple that was a tad less, but it's because they're not as in bad a shape. Like Old Pinehurst, it's probably, it's probably about 200. There was one of them, it's going to be right around that. But also I have in there as part of that to spray the shoulders, the shoulders, prior to paving to kill the grass, and also to, cut the shoulders, grade the shoulders down once we get through paving. Because if you have high shoulders, otherwise Rodney got to do it. And that's one thing Rodney expressed to me that he'd like for us to, if the contractor could, I mean, if we need to put it in the price for them to cut the shoulders and move the dirt out of the way. But
they used to do that best, when they had the equipment there. I mean, you got that ridge left, they just dress it back and gone. We're still working on trying all these cuts we did, trying to get them done between what we've got going on.
But we can, that is included in there too.
For these 10 here, what's the top 3 most traveled roads in terms of traffic?
Based on, I mean, Rodney is definitely going to know more than me, but I would say probably Lambtown, Liberty Church, Tippettville.
Yeah, Cason and Bowen and Tippettville. A lot of people from Chris County.
We don't care about them.
I forgot.
Yeah, you don't realize, like Lambtown, I mean, there's a lot of traffic.
Yeah, there's a lot.
You got Bowen and Liberty Church catches a lot. People hook off there, making it down. I mean, until you go out there and watch, you don't realize.
And during certain times of the day.
Yep.
That would, of course, early in the morning and later in the afternoon.
Well, anything too that parallels I-75 when you have your incidents out there and they got traffic for half a day because they got the reenactment team out there. I mean, your roads like Bowen, this parallel, Cason, this parallel, trying to get out of Chris County.
Liberty Church, Liberty Church has it has a lot of local. Yeah. That's one of the busier ones. And we just did a lot of work on Liberty Church with patches, with the pipes and replacing pipes. Now I will say one thing that we did not take in consideration on this is the pipes that are under the road that we may, if we do a different road that we hadn't worked on, is like Pleasant Valley. If something has to be done, if we choose to do Pleasant Valley, we hadn't done anything out there as far as replacing pipe, we would need to go and replace pipes over under the road before, before that. That's something we have not, talked about. But now, and once we get a list, or a road from y'all, we can do that.
Well, and if this is kept in the lineup, I mean, I always like to do them have a year set time on those, what we do them, but I mean, if we find out what we're gonna do this year, and then potentially for next year, we can go ahead and start getting them in the lineup, start knocking these out. Replacing the cross trains as needed, or less, I mean, it's ready when they get there. Of course, people will be inconvenienced with, that cut in the road with loose rock on it for a while, but they know better things are coming.
So this is just a recommendation from y'all, the what's the road that we're gonna do? Cause I thought about River Road. Have you done any work on that?
Well, that one is one that it's been talked about for the, for part of the T-Splosh that they're wanting to, in the future, make it a more of a connector road that, and really beef it up. And I think
Due to the length of it too, it's about out of our.
it would be, and I'm gonna tell you, it's in bad shape.
Real bad.
It's in bad shape.
That's the reason why, like I get, occasionally get calls, on River Road.
Anything you do now, I mean, unless you go in that, it's gonna be along the lines of Weeks Road
But
with
if
extra.
you look at there's about 5 or 6 places though that if they were, I know it's expensive to get them to do that, those like a cut, but if there was 5 or 6 places fixed on that road, it would make all the difference in the world.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, evidently there's bad dirt or something there.
Well, I don't drive at night much, but we went down to the park and went down Franklin Road and River Road at night the other night, and they have striped.
Yeah.
They have striped those roads.
Makes a difference.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was awesome. And then you cross into Chris County on River Road, and you're blind again.
Right.
Slow down by 20 miles.
Yeah.
I know we talked about that being negative as on doing it on a bad road or whatever, but
It even makes the road look better.
They did a good
That's
job.
what it is.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Takes your mind off them bumps and bruises.
It does.
But they finished, actually, they finished that striping, this weekend. They had good weather, so they finished the striping this weekend.
on all of them.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
I ain't got an invoice from them, but, I'm hoping they'll go ahead and send one before the end of the year, so that could be finished up.
I just think that was a positive.
Oh yeah, that was 20 roads, or there was a bunch of roads. I don't remember how many.
How much did that cost us, Steve, to get it straight?
180,000, I think, was the total.
How much was it?
180,000.
Okay, for how many miles?
Oh my goodness, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I know it was a ton. It was a bunch of them.
It was a lot. I mean, I think there's 20 roads or so. And all of that, all but 10% came from DOT.
Oh yeah, they even chose the roads that they wanted. They prioritized the roads
Yep,
that
they
they
get,
wanted
yeah.
due to the accident.
And we have had a couple of instances that people ran through the yellow paint. I sent it up to the contractor, and they took care of it.
Yeah, cause I sort of got a nice little call about some paint. It was Steve did too.
But did they have you talked to them since?
I ain't talked with him. Steve, have you talked back with him?
I sent it to Lance, and I just assumed, I haven't heard anything else, so I'm assuming everything got taken care of.
When I called, one of them, I got a call on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Wednesday morning, I talked to the lady Tuesday night before Thanksgiving. Then the next morning, I called the contractor, and maybe the 2 Mondays after Thanksgiving, I called to find out how that was. She said it's done. We've got a bill for the cleaning that got done, and it's in the, you know, so it's that I never heard anything else. In the last incident, I sent it along, and she said she was going to get their guy to give them a call and make contact. They were eager to contact that person instead of the person who ran through the paint having to call and chase them down. So
Right.
I was very pleased with how that process went.
Just took care of it. She didn't call me back.
Me neither.
I had 2 calls. I both give both of them to you.
And
What was the total? 800 and what?
80 sometimes.
800.
807, I think.
807. Well, ain't no way we can do 2 roads. Try to do 2, but ain't no way you can 87. You can do 2. So we just might as well pick the one that Mike can't do a couple of these anyway, but it wasn't million beside him. But
When do we have to know on those?
it's February.
It has to be submitted to DOT by
February 1st.
February the 1st, so I don't know how much work Lance. Yeah, I don't really expect them to make a decision today. So if they did make a decision by their first meeting in January, which would be January the 2nd, that give you enough time to get everything submitted to DOT.
Oh yes, most definitely. If there, now we'll say if there's another one that you would like for us to look at, I would need to know it today if possible. And I'd be okay to do it, to get it January 1st. It's just kind of pushing it towards the finish line. But if there's another one that's on here, that's not on here that y'all would like to see done, it'd be nice to know that. But based on that footage, depending on the condition, you're around $200,000 a mile.
A lot of people don't know how much it costs to do a road. They don't have the foggiest idea.
I know.
This is just resurfacing.
Right, exactly.
I mean, it's, and I try. Seems like, since COVID for sure, but it seems like the cost increases at bigger intervals than I expect. And like I said, I'm gonna try to hit it better this time. And so I mean, in my gut, I hate to say this out loud, but in my gut, I think these numbers are high, and I hope they're high. But over the past few years, it seems like I underestimate. So I mean, but these are just estimates. I mean, the contractor's gonna be the one that puts the final numbers on them.
All right, so y'all just take this, look at it, and be thinking about how we want to proceed on that. While they're both still here, can we move on? Talk about the gravel on the roads.
Yes. We had a list, and I know they've hit, I hadn't been on Heath Road or Dooley High yet, but I know they've hit
some of it.
Yeah, they hit 4 roads. And those were more of the full mile projects and all that. I think Dooley High was more of a worse spot thing since it was so long, but I know Rodney gets called. In the beginning, he knew about some more trouble spots. I'd like to give him, and I think we're coming in under what we thought on the rock of what it's taken.
It's going further.
But give him some, keep working down this list. But like sometimes one of these roads, you can't do it all based off weather, but maybe he can go hit a bad spot on another road. But give him the authority to go hit the trouble spot, the small spots, trouble spots, while we're still working the full list.
Right.
But I just.
And you said we might be able to add some additional road, because I got one I want to put on that we can add another road.
See,
We're not anywhere close to.
Just like Commissioner Barron, you called me about Baudry and 5 Star. All right, just like yesterday, we had sand in both places. I could have easily put rock on Baudry and solved a lot of problems. The conditions were right, you know.
Yeah, because those are the biggest call, 5 Star
Mm-hmm.
You know, I get a lot of calls about those roads there.
Yeah, we could have worked it up instead of carrying that sand down there, which is gonna be a repeat on down the road, because it's going to the ditches, down to the bottom. I mean, we could have went ahead, because Coley asked me yesterday, don't you want to just go ahead and put rock? I said, not until I'm told.
Let him keep up with it and tell us monthly what bad spots he hit, so we can keep up sort of with how much rock we're using and we'll know. Because we know we still got a lot of room to add to this type of list.
Well,
Because that was just to get us started. That wasn't using up all the rock, even at the calculations that we initially had, and they're saying we're coming in better.
just a work in progress. I mean, as we go,
Right.
your road condition, we started thinning it up a little more, working good. We got places that's too thick when we started out on Somerville, going based on what to put out. But I mean, I got some totals here, like Somerville Road, we did 3,600 feet. That's Mims Road up to almost Leary. Indian Boundary, we did 4,790 feet. Heath Road, we did 2,800 feet. Dooley High, we did 69, as we'll say 69.57 in footage on it. That's just hitting the spots that was the worst. So we've done 18,147 feet. And I had right at 1,100 tons of rock on the ground. And I've probably still got 50 ton maybe on the ground over there, if I included scraping up what we're riding on. I got them looking at this morning at Leary Road, but we've got those 4 completed. And I went back and bladed them. I did Dooley High yesterday with the new box blade leveler we got. And I sent Gilbert and them up there this morning to check Leary from Mims. It's something like 1,300 feet to tie in right there, and to see if the conditions was right. The rain was different through the county, but most I've heard like 2/10. And if it's where we can get them ditches worked and all, they're gonna try to knock that out.
Right.
But, you know, the tonnage is went further.
Well, I'm just curious. The Rock Somerville Road for $1 wide. But how much did we spend on gravel to gravel the part of the road that you gravel?
I'm trying to remember that figure. I ain't got that book with me. I want to say it was like $18,000.
Okay.
Don't write that down, but I think that's what.
About 18,000 to do.
That's what it stuck in my head because, well, because they was we had 380 ton on the ground to do that shop, and we come in under that, and I don't remember the truckloads, and that's a guesstimate because we're not weighing them in and out, but it's an estimate. But I want to say it was around between 18 and 19 for the gravel, and we could have went center. But we learning that as we go. A lot of it's got to do with the traffic. I mean, a good example is Indian Boundary, and I think you rode it and looked at it. But I went to grade it, I think day before yesterday with the new land level I've got. And you could see up there, and they've had a lot of motor trucks on it. I mean, heavy loads coming in and going. Well, make ruts, and it leaves a high in the middle. When you go through, you're gonna see dirt shining, but there's rock mixed in that, and we throw it back to the rut. But you could see before I graded over it in that clay, it was embedding that rock in it. I mean, all you could see was, of course, clay, but you could see the rock shining. Right. That's where they were turning. So it's doing what we were looking for to make a bed, a base. And you're just gonna have to keep working it back to the ruts as they travel it. But like Somerville, there's not enough heavy traffic on it or traffic period to push it down yet. But we keep an eye on that. Matter of fact, I told Lent maybe where I go when we started at Mims, once we got started in there, is reclaiming some of that rock, stretch it somewhere else if we can, pick up some of it. But we're playing with it. It's a work in progress, but it's working good so far.
Well, Steve, we have enough money in the budget. I mean, is this going to be an ongoing thing from year in and year out so we can do additional road?
I hope.
We don't know. We all learning as we go through this, Mr. David.
This is part of the LR. This is paid for by LRA with DOT. It's like the LMIG project, but it was the additional pot of money that they allotted last year, and around April or May. But so out of the LRA pot of money, and I think it was like $800,000 or $900,000. We did, the project list was the work on Spring Hill, West Road drainage, River Road drainage, and this rock.
The gravel.
Yes, and so when the rock is going to take a lot longer to get done, but we've spent, actually today they are back on Spring Hill, going to pave that road, pave that section to the church. That money will be spent. We'll have a pretty good earmark for the drainage, and then at the end of it, we'll be working towards finishing out the money with the rock. But that money, all of the rock is paid for, and there's no match on that one.
Right.
So all of that came from DOT. So, but as far as it being every year, if it was coming out of DOT's money, I mean, it would just take away from your paving or from your other LMIG projects. Maybe they'll come up with another LRA. They wanted to, but I don't know if they will.
But back to Commissioner Mickens' question.
I'm asking for the board's permission to give him the authority to hit these bad spots versus continuing to sand them and do it, since it looks like this is stretching a lot better than we thought initially.
So I motion to do that. I mean, you can go till your rock's not there anymore, basically.
While continuing down this list.
Okay, back to me, we got do we need to be more?
As long as everybody's in.
Get right, yeah, if everybody's in.
You understand what they say?
As long as you know,
Fix it.
you can let us know.
Keep the list going, but fix that problem here.
Sort of keep up with a list of what you do.
Okay.
And that's, all right.
This will be like a pave patching. Everybody will see some progress.
That'll be a big help.
And to his point, I hope this is successful enough to keep this ongoing. I hope that, in a year that these roads, the rock that we're putting down is doing what we think it's supposed to do. And because anyway, I hope it's successful enough to be ongoing.
Well, you can't do nothing but help.
All right. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Okay, back to the agenda. Item number 4, we had a public hearing scheduled for a zoning matter for a recommendation from the planning commission from their last meeting, but the planning commission held their meeting and they tabled the matter, so there is not a recommendation for y'all to consider at this point in time. Item number 5, just a reminder, we still have a vacancy on the VFAX board. Any nominations today? Hearing none, we'll move on. Item number 6, Kenny Calhoun's term on the Middle Flint Regional E911 Authority expires December 31st, but we're going to keep this on the agenda, and we plan to nominate or appoint Don Williford. We're going to give Don time to get caught up to speed, and hopefully we'll do that appointment next month in January. Item number 7, this was left over from last meeting. State Senator Carson Summers plans to introduce legislation at the 2025 General Assembly to call for a referendum to get the voters to vote on whether to have sports betting and casino gambling in the state. And he asked for a letter of support. Do y'all wish to do a letter of support or?
Good day.
Let me get this thermostat over here.
I don't know, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't like, you gotta turn it to cool.
76 and a half in here, it started 72.
It's been cool
Long
on there.
warranty, huh?
The coffee doesn't help, but yes, sir.
So do you want to do a letter of support or not?
Steve, reading into this, we see it appears there's a lot of interest at the county level based on the talk they're talking about, that the funds coming back to the county coffers. So, that's getting people's attention. Just like the Hope Scholarship. So I think I'm sure it's probably
help if the
working
money
along
do
that
make it back.
same model, I mean, anything that'll send money. I mean, people are doing this anyway. You'd be surprised at how much is being done on this right here. That's not being
They do it every Sunday.
monitored. Yeah, and you're not getting anything.
And you gotta keep in mind, all this legislation, if this legislation gets passed, that just would allow the question to be put on the ballot for the voters to make the decision whether they want to approve it or not.
It sounded like a question, I think it was only asked in the Republican primary, but in Dooley County, for that question, to anybody that voted Republican primary was 80-something% in favor. And that was just for gambling. That had nothing to do with the money coming back to the county. So,
Yeah, I think we should do the
Y'all
letter.
want to do a little?
At least get it to the ballot, let the voters decide.
Okay.
Is our letter stipulating for the money to come back to the county?
The fast one, you win plenty of money.
Okay, item number 8, this is from the last meeting also, DOT is recommending the construction of a roundabout at the intersection of State Route 215 and State Route 257. And they're requesting the county to commit to be responsible for the electricity bill, for the lights, and for the landscaping. So I called DOT to try to get some estimates on that. And basically said they need to wait because they haven't finalized the design of it yet. He said, let them get the design finalized, and then they'll come back with some estimates, and then we'll revisit whether we want to do a letter of support or not.
But they're gonna fund the whole roundabout though.
They're gonna fund the construction. Yes. Number 9, just information, upcoming holidays for county employees. Next Tuesday, Christmas Eve. Next Wednesday, Christmas Day, and then the following Wednesday, New Year's Day. We already recognized Kenny. Middle Georgia EMC requested a letter of support for their efforts to obtain some broadband equity access development, or BEAD program grant funding to expand their broadband internet service to the underserved areas in Dooley County. We've already done 2 letters of support for 2 other companies. I didn't feel like y'all have any problem with it, but I do need y'all's approval to do that.
I make a motion.
That's it.
There has been motion and second. Do we have any discussion on it? That's still, will that help the people on that?
It could, it very well could.
That ain't got no, everybody.
But unfortunately, those folks, Georgia Power's got to agree for them to get any help. Georgia Power's got to be in agreement with it.
And then,
And good luck with that.
No, that's just above ground now. One of the ones we gave was underground fiber, wasn't it? Yeah, that's for EMC above ground. One of the ones we gave a little support, they've got it. They're trenching the fiber.
Yeah. All right. All in favor by the show of hands? That motion carried.
Let me get your signature so we don't have to call you back in. I'm bad about doing that.
Everybody wanna know why they ain't got no internet. Everybody out in the swamp got internet, but down the highway they don't have it. But you need to go see Georgia Power.
Okay, item number 12. House Bill 581 was on the ballot back in November. That was a statewide vote and it passed the state. And just remind y'all, that's the one, it creates a floating homestead exemption for property taxes, which basically, in real simple terms, since it's passed, for everybody that qualifies for the homestead exemption, which basically means you own the home and it's your primary residence, you live in the home, you qualify for a homestead exemption. So now that this passed, that freezes the value of my property at whatever the tax assessor had for 2024. And say house prices go up 10% next year. My value will not go up 10%, but the state will set how much my value can go up based on some cost of living index that the state does. So that's in real simple terms what that does. And there is an option. County has the option to opt out of this floating homestead exemption if you choose to, but you've got a very limited time to opt out. You have to basically, if we want to opt out, you have to hold 3 public hearings and then vote to opt out. And all that has to be done before March the 1st. But it can't start till January 1 because the legislation doesn't go into effect till January 1. So there's been a lot. I've seen lots of different counties are asking everybody, "What y'all plan on doing? You plan on opting out?" No, I'm not opting out. It appears the majority of the counties are not going to opt out, and seems like the majority of them, they use the reasoning of why they're not going to opt out is because our voters voted to pass this legislation, which authorized this. So what gives us the right to go against the voters' apparent will? And just so you know, I forget the exact, in Dooley County, this question that was on the ballot, it passed 64%, I think, in favor of it. So, and statewide, it was about that same percentage. Statewide, it was 60-something% in favor of it statewide. So,
Doesn't affect school, does it?
School can opt out also.
But the homestead does not.
Yeah, they
get that as it is now.
As it is now, as it is now, there's going to be a floating homestead exemption for every entity that levies property taxes, county, school, and any cities. So, and the county has the option to opt out, the school has the option to opt out, and the cities have the option to opt out. I talked to Michael Bowens at City of Ina, and he said they're just now starting to discuss it. But he said he agrees that how can we vote to opt out when the voters approved it? It's sort of what they're looking at. I said, all right. I said, take your city hat off and put your school board member hat on. What's the school going to do? He said, we're still discussing it now.
But the state school board is.
The State School Board Association, I've been told, is recommending that schools opt out because of the potential loss of revenue from property taxes. And yes, there is going to be a potential loss of revenue if the house prices increase more than what the state CPI adjustment they allow. That's going to be when. And you're just going to lose the revenue on the homestead property. It don't affect commercial property. It don't affect non-homestead residential property. So, also in this bill that passed, it provides a method for a new local sales tax for property tax relief. Which basically, here again, in real simple terms, if we wanted to proceed that, then we could vote to put that question on the next election. And ask the voters of Dooley County, do you want to add another 1% sales tax to Dooley County and to be used totally for property tax relief, which would mean if the sales tax, say, I don't know, say, let's just use it simple terms. If the sales tax generated $1 million, then when we got ready to adopt the next year's millage rate and say we needed $5 million of property taxes, but we'd have to roll back the millage rate, the equivalent of whatever this sales tax would generate. So the sales tax would not generate any new revenue for the county. It would just allow us to reduce our millage rate some to offset it with the sales tax.
Is that just for homestead?
Maybe
Tax relief?
maybe across the board.
Does it have to be across the board, or can it be home?
Has to be across the board. So you could. So anyway, I don't know that we're ready yet to jump out there and start the method on the sales tax. I think we might want to let some other counties see how that goes, but we got time to make that decision. The biggest decision, the earliest deadline is if we want to opt out, we've got to hold the 3 public hearings and vote and have it submitted to the state by March the 1st. Is there any interest in pursuing the opt-out option?
I wouldn't think so. You said we voted 60.
The voters of Dooley County approved it. I mean, I don't see how you can.
Yeah.
If you get the first one, can you get the last one too?
Yes.
You can.
That's all right. Thanks, Bruce. The sales tax option for Dooley County, that's all I'm worried about. For Dooley County, the sales tax remains an option as long as the county does not opt out and all the cities that currently levy property taxes do not opt out. The school board can opt out of the homestead and it not affect our ability to have the sales tax. Because the school board, I'm gonna stop that. I'm gonna say something I don't know. But so, as long as the county stays in our cities of Vina, Unadilla, Pinehurst, Byronville, they're the ones that live. So if any of them vote to opt out of the homestead, then the sales tax is not an option for us. That's just the way the law is written. Anyway, so I'm not hearing any desire to pursue the opt-out option, so we'll move on. This is as if the tax assessor's office job wasn't difficult enough. This is just, okay. Zoning ordinance. We keep talking about the need to do some pretty major revisions to our zoning ordinance. The planning commission has done some preliminary work on some areas that they think that need some options, some changes done. Before they go too far down that road, I think I would like to see a joint little work session between the Board of Commissioners and them to have a discussion. Because I don't want them to go spend a whole lot of time, like chicken houses, for example. I don't want them to go spend a lot of time research and make a recommendation on something that y'all not even interested in here. Would y'all consider trying to have a joint work session with them?
I would, because there's probably some other things.
And some other things also.
That need to probably be discussed too. that I have experienced in other counties.
And if we're gonna do it, I would recommend, right now, their January meeting is, what's the second Monday in January? The second Monday is the 13th. They normally meet on that Monday. The second Monday is at 5:30. That would be a good time for y'all.
Big time.
And to encourage participation, we'll have a meal.
Yeah.
I think you in.
I'm in on that one.
But I think it'd be good to have that.
5:30 on the 13th.
Yeah. Okay, we'll work on that. Get back to the agenda. Just for information, the county's next annual contribution to the retirement program is due to the ACCG retirement services by January 31st in the amount of $667,000. Item number 15, American Rescue Plan Act. This is that COVID money that we got. All the funds are required to be obligated by December 31st. They don't have to be spent, they have to be obligated. And then they have to be spent by 2 years later, December 31st of 26. We've only got $16,000 left in our account. I would rather not go through the hassle of doing you gotta jump through a bunch of hurdles to just do obligated. So I'm just letting y'all know, unless y'all have a problem with it, I'm going to use this money. We'll try to use this money to pay for the firefighters' PTSD insurance. That was an unfunded mandate from the state this year that they required us to do starting in January. So I'm just going to use that money to pay for that. So we ain't got to worry about having obligated money out there after this month. If it was way more money, I'd be willing to do the obligated kind of stuff. But for $16,000, in my opinion, ain't worth the hassle.
I thought we were gonna get some additional money.
Not that I know of. Item number 16, we need to have a brief executive session at the end of the meeting. Item number 17, Rec Board, Commissioner Mixon has submitted his resignation from the Rec Board, and I think he plans to nominate Michael Fletcher. I'm assuming that comes in form of a motion.
Sure. Yeah, I'm recommending, he's gotten really involved in the rec department. I think he's coaching football, soccer, basketball, putting a lot of time into it, and he wants to be involved. I'd like to.
I second the motion.
Okay. It has been motion and second. Are there any discussion? No, you on, but I might have a discussion. I've been approached about some of this other this job. We're probably talking about the same thing. Is now if he's on the recreation board, can he still? I'm asking that board the question. Still continue to coach recreation team, because that was one of the concerns that was. I got a long hour phone call on, you know.
Why wouldn't you be able to?
I'm just asking this question. I'm just throwing it at the boat. I mean, you know.
I think Tate, coach, was on that recommended. Don't Tate coach, Tate Brown. This never came up before. I thought.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I told him I can't. I simply said I can't give no answers.
There's no current policy that prohibits that.
What would be the conflict though?
So I mean,
The board doesn't have any.
coaches are volunteer and they're volunteers.
They don't get paid.
They don't get me.
And the board members are volunteers. So
Salary, they're not setting
I had some calls. I heard that it's more, some more agenda, it's more behind to it than it really is. So I'm saying that hearsay now.
For me,
No, not from you, but I'm just saying that, he gonna wanna get on there for a certain reason. That's what they tell me. I don't know if there's no truth to it or not.
I don't either, but I heard saying, I heard that.
Like, for example, trying to move yourself up to take somebody at job, put yourself in a position to get in another spot or something. I just listen.
so then that comes back to us, so
Yeah.
I can, I mean, I'm not saying I quash it, but I don't know anything like that. The only other of whoever's making the calls, it might be more personal.
There you go.
Then
It's all personal.
Okay.
That's what I think now. I really don't know what their agenda is.
Of the people I told, nobody objected to it and nobody has called me. So they might have called y'all, but they didn't. They wouldn't tell me they had a problem.
No,
So everybody on the board know that
I don't know about everybody on the board now. I know some do, yes, and Joseph does, and he was awful. I mean, Michael helps helps him out and does a lot, and I don't, like I said, I'm having the thing. I'm thinking it has nothing to do with the children of the rec department. It has more to do with something else going on somewhere. I don't know that, but
So, do anybody else have any, Eugene, Tony, discussion?
I don't know, Michael, but if he's willing to volunteer and help, hey, let him help.
Yeah, and the big thing was ran by me is all about procedure and doing it the right way, because they want it to be the right way with all the boards and stuff. And like I said, I know how tough it is to get volunteers to do anything. And
Well, this board probably like some more boards, you probably don't have some participation on some folks, and they ain't letting their name up there. Just looking at the list.
I told him I didn't know about any policy, and that was my come back to him. I said, but I'll guarantee you this: I will bring it. I'm glad y'all put it on the board. On the agenda today. That I bring it back in the discussion, because I'm always gonna, when I don't know, I'm gonna call Steve, and run it by him before. I ain't gonna put my foot in my mouth.
and I promise this: if there ever is a problem with him or any other board member, bring it back and we'll remove them.
We sure will.
I mean, I don't know on any board.
That's right. So, if we don't have any discussion on it, any other discussion on it, are we ready to vote on it now? Okay. All in favor by the show of hands? Okay, that motion carries.
Item number 18, Norfolk Southern Railroad plans to temporarily close the railroad crossing on the Pinehurst-Hawkinsville Road for repairs beginning on January the 8th. They estimate the crossing will be closed for 48 to 72 hours. And this is actually the railroad crossing, the main railroad crossing in the city of Pinehurst. And then they also plan to, at the same time, close the crossing on Robertson Road, which is just south of Pinehurst. Robertson Road is the road that goes from 41 into the community of Finley. That's the railroad crossing in Finley. So, and there again, they estimate it to be closed 48 to 72 hours also. Okay, and then shared with y'all got a copy of the list of building permits issued in November.
I see one down there. I'm a little curious, but I never known it's a Board of Education. We go up there and inspect that stuff. I thought in the past we did, but I was just curious when I saw it at the bottom down there. Stadium renovation.
That does bring up a good question.
Yeah, I mean, I always.
That's in the city of Atlanta.
Yeah, I I just happened to see it.
I'll inquire about that.
Yeah.
Is the stadium? Does it cut?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'll check into that.
Okay. All right.
Item number 21, Stephen Kramer has applied for a renewal of an alcoholic beverage license for the Unadilla Holding Company located at 50 Highway 230 for the retail sales of on-premises consumption of beer, wine, and distilled spirits. This is just a renewal. We normally haven't been bringing renewals for y'all, but we went back and looked at our ordinance, and we technically should be bringing renewals of alcoholic beverages license before y'all, just like a new application. So we'd like to request a motion to my knowledge, there's been no issues with this establishment's had a license for several years now. There's been no issues. So
I make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
That's it.
I'm trying to figure out.
that's the campground on the Dooley Place County line.
Oh, that's me.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't need to be driving that.
Call it.
Well, at one time it was Oz.
Do they Oz anymore?
I don't know what it's called.
Oh, no.
I would also add Greenhouse Gas and Go.
I said he goes in.
Linda's asking, we only currently have 2 active alcoholic beverage licenses. This and the Gas and Go station outside of Pinehurst. And I think they're in the process of submitting their paperwork, so she would like, and they've had their license for several years, ever since Gas and Go, ever since the folks off America's.
But now this is a different,
Perry Brothers took over.
this is different than Perry Brothers.
Right, it's 2 different.
Licenses.
Yeah, their license is only for the retail sale for off premises
Right.
consumption.
This is a bar, is it not?
Yeah, this license is for on premises consumption. Perry Brothers is just for the retail sale takeout of beer and wine, I think.
This is liquor, wine, and beer, serving by the glass,
By the drink. They sell by the drink.
bottled drink.
She would like for y'all to also go ahead and approve Perry Brothers renewal for off premises, retail sale for off premises consumption of beer and wine.
That's not a charge, a fee or something.
Pending the results of their criminal background check for renewals also.
We done this together or something?
What y'all would do.
I'd say throw that into your motion. I'll second if there's not a second.
Okay, there's a motion and second. All in favor by the show of hands. That motion carries.
All right, the next item, 22. In the 24 General Assembly also, their Senate Bill 395 passed. It's been signed into law by Governor Kemp as of April. It's also called Wesley's Law, and I'm still just now getting information about it, but basically, any government building that has one of these automated external defibrillators, which we now have out here in the lobby, any government building that has those also should, this law requires us to have Narcan, which is the drug that can be used to treat somebody that's having an overdose from opioids. We're required to have a supply of Narcan available to the public, and we're supposed to be required to have some training on how to administer it. But the law also says we're immune from being sued if we don't do something technically right, because we're not medical professionals. We're good Samaritan volunteers in that situation. So we'll keep y'all. So every county building, and this applies to schools also. Schools are going to have the same thing. But we're going to be getting some training. I'll keep y'all informed on how that progresses.
And told that, you had it right there.
Oh, ain't no teachers up there using drugs. I wanted in school, but oh yeah, I know the kids.
Okay, and then that's all the items I had on the executive session, and that's it. And we're taking care of David Dixon, like the gravel. All right, Tim, you had a question about?
Yes, sir.
What was that?
Yeah, you said
Litigation.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, all right. So then all I have is the executive session, Mr. Chairman.
I make a motion to go into executive session.
Myself.
It has been second and motion that we go into the executive session. All in favor, by show of hands. Okay, that motion carries, so we're headed into the executive section at this time.
I don't anticipate any action, but it is, I'll let you know.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
She is young and
Y'all step out. We want to
it's some beauty.
My name was Elizabeth, and I'm taking over for the city clerk and Lily, and she didn't get a chance to train me, so I came in so I could ask y'all if I'm me and Malcolm maybe some help with some stuff. I don't know what's going on and how to go about doing stuff. So I came in to ask for that, and really read everything, you interpret one fellow of Malcolm for me.
Okay. All right, and what hours were you in the city hall? Or do you know yet?
But I still get 12 hours all day Wednesday and half a day on Thursday from 8:30 to 5 on Wednesday and from 8:30.
Get the contact number.
Well, we got city hall, but yeah.
Doesn't have your number.
Would you mind giving her your person just in case?
478 952 07 3.
Y'all call if it's anything you need other than money.
They asked me about, because Lily knows somebody that pays the garbage here. And I had somebody come in the morning and ask me, what do we pay our garbage fee starting in January? I said, I don't know. I said, let me go to the meeting now. So if they gonna send out a letter.
Okay, all right, right now, folks in Lily, where do they pay their garbage bill? They come here. Okay. They will be getting a notice from Waste Management that their first bill will explain all the payment options they have, or how they can pay their bill. But they won't be coming here to pay their bill anymore.
Well, they won't. They pay it in billing, but and I write a check in.
Okay, well then in that case, then all right, then Waste Management is just gonna still. So the county has been sending the town a bill for everybody, and the town has been paying the county. And the individual residents go to City Hall and pay. Well, that can continue. The county just won't be sending y'all a bill anymore. Waste Management's gonna be sending you, the town, the bill, just like the county sent the bill. So that should be the only difference y'all will see. Okay?
And just don't feel tuned. Don't feel about calling Steve them to get the right information.
Call me or
I gotta get all the numbers. I find the names and stuff. Yesterday, I was looking, so I read all the names. But then what I would do, I knew Linda was working, so I was gonna call and ask for Linda.
Now, as I understand it, the county voted, Miss Gloria Royal's been the clerk for I don't know how long she was the clerk. And she finally was going to retire, so the city voted to bring her on. And then Miss Gloria Trader, but the next day she fell, and she's been out of commission ever since. Miss Gloria's been out of commission, so you really just got thrown into it.
But they put the right person in. I know how you do it. All right.
Steve, you turned that sign around.
Oh, I didn't know she had retired.
She's retired about what?
I know, yeah, I mean, I ain't talking about the
lady. Oh, the lady.
Miss Gloria.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Let me get back.
Cut this off?
This conference will now be recorded.
Now.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes of executive session as read in executive session.
That's it.
There's a motion and second. All in favor by the show of hands. Okay, we're back in the regular session.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
What, you gonna take 20 minutes?
That's it.
Oh, he said, wait on you this morning.
Wait up. I told him I was gonna be late. I didn't want y'all.
Tony didn't say wait on you neither.
I withdraw my motion. I withdraw my motion.
I told him, I said, you said that on the website, they didn't get him, then he wanna take your place and adjourn the meeting.
Oh, Lord. Oh, y'all, you gotta go to, what's kind when you join me?
We did that. I withdraw my motion to adjourn.
Tony had to go get something to eat, man.
I know, man.
What you find right there?
This y'all
Nuts.
just some
Somebody's
Gregory.
Somebody's lunchbox.
You can. Oh, you should free. Y'all did all that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Chairman, you withdraw your motion.
I withdraw my motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion with adjourn.
Okay, that's how I'm
That's
going.
it.
I have the motion second by the
Y'all
right.
did that all.
It ain't gonna hurt you to change. No, they changed that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.